So it was a pretty big day for Bethesda games. We got the massive update to Fallout 76, bringing the DLC as well as a ton of other changes and bug fixes. If you guys missed my full video on that, there's a lot of new content there and I do break it down and give you a nice overview. But what I find even more exciting is this new trailer. If you guys haven't seen it, Bethesda's calling this the Wild Appalachia official gameplay trailer. I suppose the best way to describe it is Wild Appalachia is the first phase of DLC. It'll include a variety of different things, and a few weeks ago in the Fallout 76 roadmap, we got a preview of pretty much all of that. So we have the dates of when these things are coming out, we have a short image that gives us an idea, and also a sentence or two describing them. But large in part, it left me at least with a lot of questions, and in this new trailer, we get a lot of answers, and honestly, even more than that. So in this video, I'm going to be doing my own breakdown of the trailer, and just as a whole, the trailer is probably one of the best ones Bethesda has released thus far. I wish they did more trailers like this for Fallout 76 in general because it just looks awesome. Much better than the E3 trailers we got for the official game release. So one of the first points of interest is of course this camera scene on the bridge. So I've honestly been pretty curious as to what the point of this camera is. We know it's coming on April 19th, and Bethesda in the past just referred to it as a functional camera, which is kind of reflected here, and I think this somewhat confirms that it's just going to be a normal camera. Fallout 76 has a photo mode. This is probably building off of that photo mode, giving it to you in the first person. I was kind of hoping there'd be some kind of mechanic where you could print out these pictures, but at least in this trailer, I don't think they indicate to that anywhere. Although it does seem like you could zoom in with the camera, so that's cool, right? You're probably wondering what that new outfit is. That's just going to be a Sheepsquatch outfit. In effect, we know one of the quest lines is going to be around finding a new cryptid. That new cryptid is going to be the Sheepsquatch. This is something that's in West Virginian lore, and I'll talk more about it as we actually get somewhat of a look at him later in this. But if you're curious, here's another angle of this same outfit from a later point in the trailer, and you can see there's a little sheep on the side. And for those wondering, the super mutant behind him is just a super mutant behemoth. It doesn't seem like there's anything special or unique about him. Then we get a second look at this backpack. This is one we've seen in the past. It looks pretty cool, and as you can see by the little on-screen segment, it will in fact increase your carry weight, which will be interesting. It's more incentive to not use power armor. But even further, just based on the design of this, I assume it's actually going to be a part of the larger questline, Ever Upwards. That's the one where you basically join the ranks of a bunch of Pioneer Scouts. You could earn badges and other things. This backpack might be something you can unlock. This is just the same legendary vendor that we have seen in the past. I try to look at all the weapons in the background. It looks like they're all pretty standard, nothing new. And effectively at this guy, you're going to be able to give him your legendary weapons and you'll get a random new legendary weapon, like a reroll system you're probably familiar with in other games. So this is player vending, and this one's interesting because it was actually in one of the original trailers we got for Fallout 76 all the way back at E3. In the background, you could also see some of those new camp objects that will be themed around this. We actually saw that in the preview image also. It was a bit of a better look. Although what I'm curious about is, what is this thing? Is that another player vending machine? You'd almost assume so since it's next to the other two. It looks like it has some wires or something, so maybe you put items in one end and take them out the other. Or alternatively, maybe it's just some kind of locker or stash. Either way, it looks cool. I actually like the design of that one the most out of the three. So this part's kind of cool. The clown costume's actually in the game already. In case you really like it, you could get it right now. But from the two angles we get on that new weapon, it certainly looks like it's going to be an unarmed weapon. It seems to be in a similar vein of the Deathclaw Gauntlet, but actually it looks like this one even has more details. If you freeze some of the frames, you could see there's some kind of metal band around his wrists and even on his knuckles and fingers. He has some kind of metal piece there. This will probably be tied to the Sheepsquatch. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's even the skull of a Sheepsquatch. If you actually look at the roadmap, that is the Sheepsquatch in the bottom left corner, and this skull looks fairly similar to that skull. We have heard in the past there will be various leaderboards for this new survival mode, and now we get a look at what one of those will be. That just being how long you actually have survived, your singular life. And this one's pretty interesting to me. I could definitely see it getting pretty competitive, but at the same time, Fallout 76's map is really big, and I feel like just hiding out somewhere and AFKing could be a very viable strategy to making it to the top of this thing. What this little poster is going to be is how you actually start the Sheepsquatch quest. We actually just saw this put into use with the most recent DLC, that being the brewing one, and in effect this is something you're going to be able to get in the Atomic Shop. You can find it in the Atomic Shop files right now. It's for free though, you don't have to pay for it, and that will start you on your quest to find the Sheepsquatch. This is also the first official confirmation that the Sheepsquatch is that new cryptid. Technically before this it was just speculation, but most people are pretty certain, and that artist rendition of it in that image is actually very similar to a lot of the other drawings on the internet. It seems like they're trying to stay fairly true to form with this one. There's really nothing to break down about that, but I would really love it if this cryptid is genuinely scary. I feel like with a lot of the other cryptids, sometimes it would spook you, but there wasn't a lot of fear involved with them. If with a questline that could actually capture the emotions you feel just listening to that few second long segment, I think I would be very happy with what they put together. So this is all the Nuka Shine stuff, and although it's cool, we already have it released and I made a full video on it, so you can check out that one. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go through it. So this is actually the new parade event for Fallout 76 that's coming out just next week. It's the next DLC we're getting. What we know is it's actually going to be a parade involving all these random masks, and how they described it thus far is you pick the decorations, set up the decorations, and then have to defend the parade from ongoing attackers. The paraders seem like they're the Protectrons with the masks, but the more you manage to keep alive, the greater your chance of winning some of these masks as a prize in the end. For some of these masks, that's actually the first time we're ever seeing them, but even further, some of the data mine files in the Atomic Shop, it seems like when this event goes live, there's going to be other masks you can purchase. We have this one that just looks hilarious and you have to assume will go live at the same time, and also this one which seems like a little bit of a modified version of one of the masks you could find in game. So this for me has actually been one of the most interesting and curious parts of this entire trailer, the new underground segments. This is very curious, and it looks like we have two separate locations here, or at least two separately themed locations. One clearly looks like a tunnel system of some kind that could potentially be leading to the next location. It looks somewhat similar to the tunnel you could find in Vault 63, but it's obviously not the same, they're just kinda similar. While on the other hand, the interior of this one definitely looks like it is a vault of some sort, or at least something of a similar style, while also a big wide open area. So this got me pretty curious, and I'm not entirely sure even what batch of content this is going to ship with. It doesn't seem like it really fits in with the whole Sheepsquatch theme of things, and on the other hand, we do have the Pioneer Scouts questline. I think it could certainly have something to do with that. The name of that questline is Ever Upward, so if it takes you underground, that would be pretty ironic. But in-game, following this update, a new vault was actually added in, so I think this is that vault. As of right now, we know literally nothing about it. Somebody glitched inside of it, and it doesn't seem like that new content is there, at least just yet. But maybe that Pioneer Scouts questline takes us in a very different direction than we originally thought. It takes us underground into some kind of Pioneer Scouts vault. And outside of just pure speculation at this point, I don't have much more to contribute because we just don't know more outside of what you could see in these videos. Obviously, there's a bunch of PvE combat going on. There's this very blurred out sign in the background. It's pretty likely that contains the answer to this question, but I don't know what it says. Comparing this to some other data mine files around the Pioneer Scouts, they don't really match up too closely or too obviously. So either way, I'm pretty curious. It seems very likely it will correspond to that brand new vault, but how and what exactly is the story going on there? Even further, why is this vault a new addition? Meanwhile, we had 3 other vacant vaults that are going to be for future DLC that were already in the game. I made a full video exploring those, and some of them are quite well fleshed out. Although as far as my overall reactions to this trailer goes, it's really well done again, and I think it signifies that Bethesda is really trying to get players back into this game with this DLC. The first patch we got today was definitely a solid start. The content they added in was enjoyable, and even though it was fairly small in nature, give me a few more months of adding in small but quality content drops and I think a lot of people will start coming back. Plus, based on some of the stuff we're seeing on this video, it doesn't look like all of it's going to be all that small. One thing that did kind of rub me the wrong way though was they don't really talk about how all this DLC is coming out in waves. I think it would have been a lot more obvious if when they actually had little cards popping up on screen describing what that does, they also had a date as to when it was going to come out. It seems like a lot of people that watched this thought all the DLC would come out at the same time, like most other game DLCs, and even most other Fallout games, like one big DLC bundle. It is listed quite clearly in the description, but let's be honest, most people don't read that. And even further, if people open the description and just see a bunch of text, they're probably not going to pay attention to it. At the end of the day, it's really not that big of a deal. It just seems like, based off what I've been seeing as far as reactions to this trailer, people are getting things wrong. They're thinking this is not what it actually is. Either way, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one, at least for me. Hopefully you guys did enjoy as always, but with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.